Sometimes, in the darkest moments of life, we find a new light. A story of lost memories and loneliness, where an extraordinary friendship is born. This is the story of Hai and Gozina, two souls bound by pain, love, and courage. Their journey teaches us how even in loss, new beginnings are possible. Let's listen to their story, where hope shines brightest after every struggle. Hai's life was full of exhaustion and pain. From a young age, he had understood the complexities of his family life, marked deeply by his parents' disrespect and scolding. He never found a true place for himself in society. One night, in the silence of darkness, when all hope seemed lost, he found himself standing near a city bridge. His body shivered, and as he prepared to jump down, letting go of all his pain, suddenly someone grabbed his hand. An elderly woman, Gozina, held him firmly. Gozina was much older, her eyes filled with weariness and clouds of fading memories, slowly being shattered by dementia. At life's edge, her mind was breaking apart, unable to hold onto the fragments of her past. Yet, through unimaginable strength and love, she saved Hai's life. At first, Hai was surprised. Why would someone step forward to save his life? But soon he saw that Gozina was also alone and lost, living each day in search of peace and care. From that night on, Hai began to care for her, seeking rays of light within her fading memories. Their two lives intertwined. Though countless differences separated them, their shared humanity, pain, and loneliness brought them together. When Gozina took Hai to her home, he saw old photographs and fragments of memories scattered around. But in Gozina's eyes, those pictures brought more pain and confusion than comfort. Often, she would forget herself, sometimes unable to recall the names of her children, other times reminiscing about a long-lost love. Her memories were like raindrops. Once caught, they slipped away again with a soft whisper. At first, I didn't realize the severity of Gozina's condition. He thought maybe she was just weak and needed help. But slowly, he understood it was not mere weakness. It was an illness that was slowly consuming all her beloved memories. One day, Gozina asked Hai, "Who are you? Are you like someone I once knew?" Hai was taken aback, but explained gently that he was just a young man who had come to her side in a difficult moment. Hearing this, Gozina felt a little calm, but her eyes shimmered with a silent sorrow. Gozina wanted to share her past. She spoke of a time when her life was full of light. There was a family, children, and love. But now, it all seemed like a distant dream. She repeatedly tried to recall those lost days, and Hai tried his best to hold onto those memories for her. At the same time, Hai was fighting his own loneliness. Amid the cracks in Gozina's fading memories, he began to face his own pains, his broken family, his father's neglect, and the doubts tied to his queer identity, all stirred within him like a storm. Their lives became bound by a different kind of bond. Gozina for her lost memories, and Hai for his lost confidence. Standing by each other's side, they both tried to rebuild their lives anew. Days passed, and Hai and Gozina slowly began spending their time together. Gozina would sit beside Hai most of the day, gently resting her hand on his, as if trying to hold on to the fading memories. For Hai, this new life started to become a place where he could begin to discover himself. Gozina wanted to share the stories of her lost days, but often her memories slipped away. One day, she told Hai, "Once I had a family, a home, everyone was by my side. But now, no one remains." Hai tried to hold back her tears, realizing the depth of her loneliness was as painful as his own. Hai also understood that he was no longer alone. There was someone like Gozina whom he could love, and for whom he could survive. Together, they broke the walls of their solitude. Their friendship gave birth to a new life. One day, Hai brought out an old photograph of Gozina, her smiling face surrounded by loved ones. Gozina couldn't hold back her tears. She said, "These are my life, and now you are a part of it." Both knew how unkind time could be, but through their touch and presence, they found the small joys life still had to offer. Days passed, and the friendship between Hai and Gozina grew deeper. Their bond was more than just care or love. It was a search for life itself, a fresh beginning. Whenever Gozina forgot something, Hai would patiently hold her hand and say, "We're together, everything will be all right." Those simple words gave Gozina a new strength to hold on. Hai, too, began reflecting on the pain and failures of his past. He realized he had to let go of the past and build a new life from scratch. Just like Gozina, another lost soul, he was learning to live anew. One day, Hai made a decision not to hide his true self anymore, but to come out openly to the world. He knew it might be hard in society's eyes, but this was necessary to start his new chapter. Gozina encouraged him, saying, "You are perfect as you are. Don't hold back." Her words gave Hai strength and restored his confidence. Together, they began small journeys, sometimes walking in the park, other times sitting by the riverbank. Those small moments became precious gifts of new life. This new beginning, a search for life, became a shining light of hope for both of them. The bond between Hai and Gozina was more than just love and friendship. They found light together in the tangled darkness of each other's lives. As Gozina's memories gradually faded, Hai realized that his care and love were the last shining lights in her life. One day, Gozina told Hai, "I'm losing all my memories, but when you are by my side, I feel some peace." Hearing this, Hai's heart grew heavy, knowing that time was slowly taking everything away from her. Meanwhile, Hai was fighting his own battles with his identity. He knew many in society might not accept his queer identity, but Gozina's love gave him the courage to embrace his truth. Together, they understood that even in the darkest times, there's always a light if someone is there beside you. Though Gozina's memories faded day by day, Hai never let her be forgotten. Every day, he tried to bring back small moments of joy in her life. Hai and Gozina realized that life may be hard, but friendship and love can conquer everything. Hai and Gozina's life felt like a small refuge, a place where they found peace in each other's love. But they couldn't escape the harsh gaze of society. When Hai came out with his queer identity, the judgment of the world fell hard on him. Some looked at him with disdain, others heard him with cruel words. Even his own family couldn't fully understand him. Instead, they distanced themselves. In those moments, Gozina's presence was the only strength in his life. An old woman, losing her memories, yet loving Hai and standing by his side. Together, they faced many struggles. Hai often felt despair, wanted to break down many times. But with Gozina's companionship, he found the courage to rise again. She helped him understand, saying, "None of us is perfect, yet we are valuable simply because we are human." One day, one of Hai's friends was hurt by harsh societal comments. He broke down, but Hai comforted him, saying, "If someone doesn't understand us, it doesn't mean we are any less human." Through the fading layers of Gozina's memories, Hai learned to accept himself. He stood up against society's judgment and carved out his own path. Their friendship and strength kept them going, even when the whole world seemed against them. Though Gozina was lost within her memories, she remained Hai's greatest refuge. And Hai, in his struggle for existence, awakened through Gozina's love and found new meaning in life. Despite the pain and neglect of society, they both knew the friendship they had built was their greatest victory. Gozina's memories slowly began to fade away. Day by day, she seemed to lose herself. In her eyes lingered the bright days, filled with laughter, love, and dreams. But gradually a strange silence settled over everything. She forgot the faces of her family, and sometimes even Hai's name slipped from her mind. Hai reached out with caring hands every day, trying to help her remember, but in her eyes floated a deep sadness. One day, Gozina said to Hai, "I don't want to forget you. You are like my only friend." Those words weighed heavily on Hai's heart. He realized that losing memories wasn't just about forgetting. It was losing pieces of life itself. Gozina's lost memories meant the loss of the golden days of her life. Sometimes she would ask Hai, "How are the flowers in my garden now? Have you seen them?" She clung so desperately to the small joys of her past that Hai's heart would break. Hai knew that with time, Gozina would disappear more and more. But he wished her last days to be filled with love and peace. So he stayed by her side with care, talking to her, singing old songs. So even as the last drops of memory dimmed, some glimmers of joy would remain. One day, Gozina held Hai's hand tightly and said, "You are my last refuge." Those words became her final message, a strength that gave Hai courage to face all life's battles. From that day, Hai grew even stronger. He understood that losing memories was not the end. From the memories of love, a new light of life would always shine. As Gozina's memories continued to fade, Hai refused to let time defeat them. He knew that instead of trying to recover what was lost, he needed to build something new. For Gozina, he created a new routine, singing soft songs every morning, tending to the flowers in the garden, and telling her small stories. One day, sitting together in a corner of the garden, Gozina suddenly smiled and said, "You have brought light into my life." Tears welled up in Hai's eyes, for those simple words were the greatest gift he had ever received. Hai realized that the greatest victory in life was holding on to these small moments. He thought, maybe it was impossible to retrieve lost memories, but creating new ones and deepening love was still within their reach. They walked together through the garden, sitting in the shade of the trees, holding hands and sharing stories of their lives. A little more light returned to Gozina's eyes, and Hai found a new touch of hope. These moments revived their lives once more, teaching them that life is never truly over, as long as love remains. Hai's life had been a long battle. From a young age, he knew his identity was different. Being queer in a society that refused to accept him seemed almost unimaginable. At home, outside, and in the wider world, he faced disdain many times. His parents' harsh criticism, friends' neglect, and even his own inner doubts never left him. Yet, Gozina's love and companionship helped him overcome these obstacles. She often told him, "You are good just the way you are. Never hide who you truly are." These words brought a new strength into Hai's life. One day, Hai decided he would no longer hide his true self and would come out to the world. It was a difficult decision. He knew many would not support him, but he wanted to fight for his own life and build his own dignity. Gozina stood by his side, saying, "The battle you fight is what makes you human." A new chapter began in Hai's life, where he learned to express himself freely, stand up for himself, and turn his struggles into strength. Even amidst society's harshness and hatred, a new dream awakened in Hai's heart, a dream to live his life his way and to love on his own terms. With time, Hai's life began to change. His struggles, pain, and sacrifices slowly started to bear fruit. Gozina's love and companionship brought him to a place where he could express himself freely and fully. Hai realized that the greatest lesson in life was to love and accept oneself. He challenged the deep-rooted beliefs of society, shared his own story, and inspired others to be brave in embracing their true identities. As Gozina's memories gradually faded, new memories blossomed in Hai's life. New friendships were born, and new doors of possibility opened wide. One day, Gozina and Hai sat together at the edge of the garden, watching the sunset. With the last of her strength, Gozina said, "You are the greatest joy of my life." Tears welled up in Hai's eyes, and he understood that despite all the pain and hardships, love was his greatest victory. Hai knew that Gozina's love and memories would remain his strength, giving him new hope and courage every day. Their story was the start of a new chapter, where through pain and loss, one finds the true meaning of life and love. If you want to experience all the excitement and mystery this book has to offer, I've left a link for you in the description box below. Click it to read the complete story for yourself. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Story Café for more amazing book journeys.